everyone! Welcome back to Wings Engine Water Settings Tutorial Series. Today we will start with the first one. The first part of the water, which is the setting of our plain water. The plain water, its principle is very simple, which means we put a plane here. And then through the entire rendering technology, including surface normal reflection and SSR, including R normal, the entire disturbance effect, to create the effect of water. Flat water has very low performance consumption. Therefore, it is very suitable for use on some low-performance computers. It is very suitable to use this water, but there are some disadvantages of flat water. Let's first take a look at the plain waters in our current picture. This plain water has currently turned on all the effects have been turned on. After opening it, you can see that the effect of the water is actually good. What are its problems? First, actually, this water, because it is a plane, so it actually has no height. It will be reflected in several places. Firstly, the whole shore we see. The edge is very, very rigid. Firstly, it has no disturbance, and secondly, there is no depth or light and shade in the rendering effect. Refraction and scattering effects. And the plain water. Its own surface ripples are formed by a right-angle superposition to form. Therefore, relatively speaking, if we look carefully at the disturbance of the ripples, we will find that it is actually quite rigid. Of course, there are some benefits of flat water. For example, its normal vector can be set by ourselves. Setting different normals, it will present a different effect of plain water. Okay, today in this class, let's take a look to see how to set such a plain water. Let's turn off the plain water first. Then we turn off some of the effects. And turn off the effects I open later. When you first create a new project, it should show a water effect like this. Okay, if we open the project, it'll look like this. The sky and clouds you need to set it yourself. First, we click on the model. Find the shape and find the plane. We click OK. We put this here. Okay, suppose we want to put the plane in water. On the upper edge of the dam, we can adjust it appropriately and rotate it. Then we can adjust it again. Look at it. Look at the top view. This is the effect. It's basically fittings. Yes, then we can raise it a little higher. Okay. Of course, some people would say, why there is no one here? We can actually make the plane bigger for the plain water, for the simple. It won't affect the performance. But because today we are demonstrating, we won't make it too big. We can just put it in this position. Let's see if it comes out. Just put it in this position, and this angle is enough. Okay, now, how should we set the water material? Because in the wing's engine, the water material is a special option, which cannot be directly created. We need to find the material, and then find the water inside. And we can see that there are 3 kinds of water. This is our internal account. And the other waters we can see. We need to find the material. Let's choose a lake water now. Okay, let's click it. In this way, the effect of the entire lake water has been applied to this. How can we know? This is the effect of lake water. We click here. And then we checked it under the normal vector. Below the normal vector option box, there will be a flow direction and main direction ratio. So this is a water material. Of course, many people will find that. Why our water doesn't feel like water at all? The reason is simple. Because it has no reflection. There are many ways to reflect light. As you can see now, when I see the sun, I can actually feel it. Because only when light hits the water, we can see the effect of its normal vector. Once there is no light, it'll look like this. In this case, we should. How to make it reflect? We have 2 ways. The first way is, we can find it under the water's plane material. In the reflection column, find a texture map. We can find one, whether it's our HDR texture or some compressed version of the texture, and set it directly. In this way, the water will have its own reflection effect. But the downside of this is that it cannot follow us the whole day-night switch. For example, when we switch between day and night, it may be very bright. Generally, I recommend where you should find it. Find this environment texture in our sky. And then pull down to select the sky. Or give a complete one. The advantage of choosing the sky is that you don't need to find any separate environment texture. With this, just open the sky. It will reflect the sky's reflection in it. We may not see it clearly now. If I turn off the water, like the normal map of the water material, and turn off the normal intensity, we can see the entire skies. The clouds are all reflected in it. So the advantage of this is that it not only has the effect, clouds reflected in it, including the change of a day, the change of our days. It will be reflected in the entire water surface, which makes it very realistic. Look. Okay, let's add the normal map back first. After adding the sky, our water looks like more water. You can see it looks very good. Many times, this is already enough. Of course, I have to emphasize that. Directly using the sky as an environment texture is a relatively performance-consuming way. If you want to save some resources, you can directly use the environment texture. In our sky, let's say we choose the modern sky here. Wait a moment. Modern sky here. Ah, I don't have it here. The static sky associated texture map. Ah, you can find it. Like SDS. Okay, just set the environment texture directly, which will save a lot of performance. Okay, generally, we can do this to a good extent. Meanwhile, we can also change its color in our basic colors. For example, we can, when we set it, there are small rivers and lakes flood. It's more about a different base color. For example, this water surface. First of all, you should notice that the final color of my background. The final effect is not purely my background color, because it will reflect the sky. Let's take a look at the background color. Let's change this background color. Let's say we change it to yellow. It will present a kind of a flood-like appearance. Here, note that because water absorbs light very strongly, absorption is actually very strong because water is not only deep and in the process of water, but also has a lot of scattering. Therefore, generally speaking, when choosing the base color, we chose a darker color, which is darker in brightness. Then we can adjust. For example, this is a water with a lot of algae. Then we can choose a slightly green one. Generally speaking, in our software, we'll make it a slightly green color and a little darker. Okay, after adjusting the color, what else can we adjust? We can also adjust the normal map. Here I have prepared several hair texture maps. These are our default ones. Look, when we have the hair texture map. Oh, here are two others. Different styles of hairstyle textures. We click it. We can see that this different style of hairstyle texture will present a different effect of wind blowing on the lake. Of course, we also have intensity here. I just adjusted it for you. This is the normal map with a strong intensity, so there is no normal map. This is a relatively simple animation speed. We can speed it up a bit. This makes the whole water flow faster. Including the direction of the water flow is also very simple. We rotate around the flow. According to everyone's feelings of the wind direction, to adjust it. Generally, we don't adjust it so fast. The last one is the main direction ratio. Might feel a little strange. Why is there a main direction ratio? Because the effect of the entire water is disturbed by the normal vector of a right angle. If the main direction ratio is completely 1, we can see that. Then only the main direction will move. There will be no side rotation. If the main direction ratio is 5%, we can see such a direction, and this direction of rotation, which will make the water surface more realistic. After adjusting this, you can feel that. We still feel a little bit of difference. The first special reason is that the edge is too rigid. But as I said before, our plain water can only be done like this. So what else can we do? Make the edges less rigid? That is to turn on our SSR. SSR stands for screen space reflection. In the screen space reflection of the sand eyes, first, select the scene to open. Global screen space reflection. After opening, generally speaking, if you choose the normal settings and haven't made any special settings, then in the picture, whether it's GIS or tilted, or tilt photography, or a twin of ours, or a twin model, it will be directly reflected in the water. Okay, you can see it automatically appears. We can also put a model in the image. Let's take a look. It will also reflect automatically. With this SSR, the entire water surface will appear more realistic. This reflection will also be very beautiful. This is the basic settings of plain water. In the next class, we will not rush to talk about the other two types of water. Let's first take a look at the kind of water surface we often need to do the most performance consuming and lowest consumption. How to use flat water to make the water surface submerged. How to bind the data. Okay, that's all for today's class. Thank you all.